Hello and welcome to Illuminations with Tina and Fee. I'm Tina, and this morning I haven't got Fee with me, but I've got the lovely Corrina Gordon-Barnes instead. Good morning.
Good morning, Tina. Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm grounded. I'm here.
Grounded is good. Grounded is good. Corrina, I know you from You Inspire Me, which that's kind of your brand from before.
Yeah.
When I started my business, I used to follow you there, but you changed a little bit. You refocused into relationships instead, and now we can find you on CorrinaGordonBarnes.com instead. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit so that you get to say what you want about yourself to the viewers?
Yeah, I just found this way of being so peaceful in relationships and really transforming relationships. So I lovingly left everything I'd ever created around marketing and self-employment and pricing and clients. I left that all on my old site, and I decided just to do something completely new, which was to share what I had discovered helps make relationships work and to share that with people. So that is now what I do. I work one-to-one with people who really in two main situations. One is when they've got a relationship that they're committed to, whether it's a loved one, a partner or a family member, and it's just not working. So there are arguments, there's tension, they get triggered by that person. It's hard to be around them. They're not the best version of themselves with that person. So I help them to find peace with that person, even when it seems impossible. And then the other thing that I do is to help people who are in a relationship that they're not sure is the right match for them. And that work is around, should I stay or should I leave? So this is a great person, but is this the right match for me for life? And it can be such an exhausting place to be. So I help in that situation as well.
Fantastic. It sounds like it kind of came from a place of almost finding, not yourself, but finding yourself in relationships that you then wanted to share with others. Was that kind of how the transformation of the business came about?
Yeah, I've been in the personal development field for well over a decade, including over 10 years as a professional coach. But I found that my personal relationships weren't any better as a result. So yes, okay, I knew my values and I was making powerful choices. I was not a very nice person with a lot of the people who were very closest to me. And I think especially even actually as, in the online business world, so much is about how we come across to the public, whether it's on a Facebook page or YouTube or a website. So there was I looking, like I had all my shit together on the outside. And actually when it came to in my home, when I was with my parents or my siblings or even certain friends, I wasn't being the best version of myself. And what I realized was that a lot of personal development actually makes relationships harder.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because what it does is it gives us a stronger sense of ourself, but then self is the problem in relationships. So this strong sense of this is what I value, this is my vision, this is what I will and won't kind of tolerate, can make relationships really hard because the other person then becomes a disappointment. They're not following our script for how they should be, because there's us with all our tools and they're not doing personal development and they're not changing. And I was being pushy. I was being disappointed. I was being resentful. Not nice. And then I discovered this new way of working with thoughts in a way that dissolves the self. Okay. So it's not anymore about building up that sense of self. It's actually about dissolving that ego self so that I'm just with the person who's in front of me in the most loving, connected, peaceful way.
Okay. So then you show up as your most loving, peaceful self. And I'm guessing there's some compassion in there and understanding.
Completely, yeah.
For yourself and the other person. Then.
Yeah, completely.
So what's the line then between showing up as that and then losing yourself in that?
Well, it's like what is this self that we're losing? I love losing that ego self, because that ego self, and it's just a term, I mean, who knows what it means, but that self that has expectations and wants and needs and a script, I love losing that self. I love just being with my wife without any of that, because there's just oneness, right? There's just complete acceptance and peace, and there's power in that as well. It's not, you're not losing any of your autonomy or power or any of those things which are really important. You're just losing all the crap. You're just losing all the stories. You're losing that chattering mind that would say, well, she should be doing this, and he should be doing that, and they just let me down, or they just did this to me. We lose the victim position. That's the sense of self that we lose with the work that I now do. We lose the victim. And so we're just left completely free. I'm free to make any request of anyone in my life. I'm free to be completely honest, and I'm free to expect nothing and be pleasantly delighted when they give me whatever they give me. Okay.
So that must be I shouldn't say that. It sounds like it can be quite a journey to I mean, Fee and I talk a lot about, not having expectations, having an intention. And then, because we can have something to say about the intention, but we can't rule over the outcome.
Yeah.
I'll own it personally. It is quite a journey to take, to kind of go, okay, well, I'll accept whatever outcome and not have those expectations in a relationship.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, anything else is kind of ridiculous, because we don't have control over another person. No. What they say, what they do is 100% theirs. That's their life. That's their, that's for them. So any moment that we're trying to change them, we're trying to make them live up to our script, it's just futile. We're in completely hopeless territory. So how much more powerful to come back to ourselves? What am I doing? What am I saying? How am I showing up? And putting all of our personal power back there, where we actually do have power.
Okay. Personally, I'm a person who can go into, especially romantic relationships. I have got a bit of a hard time asking what I want in a relationship. So I can kind of mold myself very effectively, although I'm a little bit of a codependent. So I can go in as an empath, and I feel what they feel, and I mold myself after them, but then I also try and fix them, which is not the best way to be. But what I also notice for myself is that I have a very hard time knowing when actually it's better to let a relationship go for both of us. Because I've got a tendency to maybe hang on. I'm going to be loyal. I'm going to understand. I'm going to be, we're going to fight for this. And so when does one know when it's time to actually go, listen, this is not good for either of us?
And I love that you say that. Often it's such a beautiful part of us that wants to hold on to a relationship. It's the optimistic part. It's that, forgiving part that wants to hold on. For me, what I do very practically, so with clients, if someone is in that situation, should I stay, should I leave, is first of all to do something that I call the rant. Okay. So this is where you just get down absolutely all your judgments about that person onto paper. Mm-hmm. And if you are that very kind of understanding, forgiving person, it can be quite hard to do that, but it's really important just to get all of those judgments onto paper. So, he wasn't there for me. He didn't listen to me. I want him to give me a Valentine's card. He should sit with me and look into my eyes. All of everything that we want. And I've recorded a video about how to do the rant if you want to share this with your community. And we just get all of that onto paper so we can see the thoughts, because these are the thoughts that are stopping us from being completely peaceful and loving with this person. We then also, if we're doing this kind of work, we want to make a list of all the fears that we have about leaving. So if I leave, he'll be devastated. I'll regret it. I'll be on my own. I'll never find anyone better. And we write all of those fears down. So it's kind of an alternative to doing the pros and cons list. The pros and cons list is a very rational way of making decisions, and it often doesn't really work, because actually the reasons that we can't stay fully is because we have this rant of judgments. But the reason we can't leave is because we have these fears. So once we've written both of these down, we then want to question each of these thoughts, so each of the judgments and each of the fears.
Okay.
And by question, I mean we ask certain questions. So this has evolved from the work of Byron Katie. This is one of the trainings that I've done that I really find so powerful. We're asking, is this true? So I was there with him and it really felt like he wasn't listening to me. Was that true? Is that absolutely definitely what was happening? And we go back and we really watch that moment with that person. Was my assumption, was my judgment, was my criticism true? And then we ask, okay, so whether it was true or not, what was the cost to me? In that moment, what was the cost of believing this thought? So this thought appeared, he's not listening to me. What was the cost of believing that? Well, I noticed that I stopped listening to him, right? And I noticed that I felt tense, and so we really see the cost to ourselves and the cost on the relationship. And then we imagine I was just in that scene, in that moment with that person, but that mental soundtrack would just kind of like noise. We weren't believing and attaching to those thoughts. So what then would that be like? And we reimagine that scene without the soundtrack.
Yep.
And once we do that, we're clearing away all that was covering the connection with that person. When we do that with the judgments and we do that with the fears, what we're left with is full access to our relationship intuition. Our body, our being knows if this is the person to be with or not. Without all of those mental constructs, we're just left noticing I'm either really moving towards this person or I'm moving away from this person. And there's nothing to figure out then. Because if we've questioned everything, so all that kind of tumbleweed, all that kind of clutter has just gone, we're left with clarity. We can't not have clarity when we've cleared out all that's blocking that clarity. So then it becomes really simple.
Yeah. And would you recommend that, okay, so this is work that you do individually, as in the relationship, so you might do the work with someone like you, but would you ever kind of say to your partner, we seem to be in a rough patch, I'm going to do this work. If you want to, would you like to do that work on your own as well and see where we get to? Or is it more like, I can do this on my own?
I mean, it's amazing. If the other person is wanting to do that, brilliant. And what I love about this is that it doesn't require that. So, a lot of people that I know, friends, family, were wanting to do something like marriage guidance counseling or couples therapy, but their partner didn't want to. So they were like, well, what do I do? How do I improve this relationship? And what I love about this work is that it doesn't require the other person. You do it, you get clear. If the other person wants to do it, that's a complete bonus and they can get clear too and they can get peaceful too. So yes, do it, and it doesn't in any way require the other person.
So I know that on your website, you very lovingly describe your relationship with your wife. You say that, on paper, you're like not a match made in heaven at all. You say, if you were on a dating website, you'd never meet, because there's like 5% connection there.
Exactly.
But that through this work that you do, you kind of have found a harmony or balance in that relationship.
Yeah, it's, the relationship is so precious because it is the absolute epitome of all the work that I do. At our core, at that deep core level, we are absolutely the right match for each other. But all of the stories would say not, like our spiritual outlook, so many different ways in which we're not matched, our lifestyle preferences. So the work for me has been about questioning those thoughts, like she doesn't want to go for long, rambles in the woods, or she doesn't want to go cycling with me, or she doesn't want to do personal development weekends with me. The mind would say that's a problem. You need to find someone who's compatible with you in these ways. But when I question those thoughts, and I've questioned, every one of them basically, they just don't hold up. why would I need her to go walking in the woods with me? Off I go walking in the woods, or I find someone to go with. So it's at our core, we are the perfect match. And everything else is just to be questioned.
Oh, that's beautiful. At our core, we are the perfect match.
Yeah.
I love that. That's beautiful. Corrina, time has gone so quickly. I'd like to talk with you for another hour. We try and keep these around 15 to 20 minutes long. So is there anything else that you want to really say to our audience before we kind of close off about relationships?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the most powerful concepts is this one of script and soundtrack and scene. So I'll leave it with that. So when you're with someone, whoever it is, whether it's a partner or a mum or a brother or a child, just become aware that there is the scene. There's the scene that's happening. You know, if you were putting this on at the theatre, here would be the scene. You've got the characters, you've got the props. And you just become aware of that. And you can even name, you know, there's a woman, there's a table, there's a cup of tea. And then notice that the mental soundtrack is separate from that. And that's the one that's causing all of your problems. All of them is that soundtrack that's just going on and on and on and on and on. Capture that soundtrack, get that onto paper and work with that. And then what's actually in front of you, so the real relationship with that person will just be freed from all of that. And you'll have relationships like you never knew you could have, just completely transformed by getting that soundtrack onto paper and questioned.
Wonderful. Yeah. So if people want to find you, they can find you on CorrinaGordon-Barnes.com. You said that there's a video clip with stuff as well. Is that on YouTube or?
Yeah, so if you go on the website to the blog page, you'll see I've done lots of little short videos, like 3, 4, 5-minute videos about different aspects, whether it's your mum's not listening to you, whether it's, you know, all different aspects. So go and take a look there, and that one about how to do the rant is on there. It's called The First Step to Letting Go of Resentment, and I can send you the link if you want to put it below this video or anything.
That would be brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate it. That's wonderful information that you've given me and our audience as well.
Great. Thank you.
Take care, and I'll see you around.
Yeah, see you. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.